Hey there, and welcome to our channel, where every day is an adventure waiting to be shared. I'm Manda, and together with Dan and Aria, we explore, capture, and most importantly, enjoy every moment together. Join us on this incredible journey around the globe. In this week's episode, Dan fulfills a lifelong dream off his bucket list, the Nurburg Ring. We'll also share with you our hints, tips, and everything we've learnt so far from our first 6 weeks of full-time travel in Europe. Let the journey begin.
Doing a lap, Nurburg Ring, 3 laps, 2 laps, 3 laps, we'll see.
In a
Mini Cooper.
Cool.
It's going to be fun.
Alright, I'm going to
into this for a long time.
You've been looking forward to it. He's down his car, my favourite colour of course, must be good luck. And we have been given a point to park and watch from. So, yeah, we actually have no idea how many laps it's going to do, 2, 3, 4, no idea. This car needs to be back by 2 o'clock for the next person, and you pay by the lap, so, I don't know, Daniel might just keep going until 2 o'clock, see how many laps you can do, I don't know what he's going to do. And then apparently, possibility of driving a Supra around as well. He was going to do a Ferrari. I kind of put a stop to that because that was going to be very expensive and probably just not a very sensible choice. When you don't know what you're doing for that car, you don't know the road, you haven't actually driven a race car in a long time or even raced a bike in a long time. So yeah, we kind of talked him out of it. But also the guy that like trained the dude, supervisor dude said it's a smart choice that I talked him out of it as well. So to compromise, I think they're going to let him do a Supra or something, which they actually don't have released yet. Anyway, let's go and watch him. We are on a bend of like a S and then another bend. We'll see how much we can capture. We couldn't put a GoPro in with him because there's no way of mounting it. So yeah, it is what it is. Let's go and give him a watch.
Hi.
How was it?
Very, very thrilling. It was sick. Did you see us?
So I did. You didn't beep at us.
He didn't even tell me where you were.
Oh,
We were just so concentrated on like driving.
Okay.
Yeah, great instructor, rent for Ring, very good. Yeah, they got a bunch of different cars. Don't go an expensive car, just go the cheap car, the Mini or the Suzuki Swift. The Mini's good. The Mini's very, very, very fast. Very fast around the Nurburg Ring.
What speed did you get up to?
Didn't even look.
So you don't even know how fast you went?
No idea.
Fair enough.
It's just all about...
Any guess at like 200 plus or not?
Maybe 200, but there's no straights. You're not like going down straights looking at the speedo. It's all turning the whole time.
Yeah.
You're like... You got to watch out for traffic. Like you got super fast cars coming up on the inside, and yeah.
Random.
Door wasn't closed.
So you do it now.
Yeah. Don't know what to say.
Did you see a van?
It was very impressive. I did see a van.
Overtake
I
a van?
did overtake a van. Yes.
I'm glad you overtook the van.
I overtook quite a lot of cars actually.
Did you? Oh, that's cool.
He said we're going to be like one of the slowest out. Like we'll be the slowest car on there. and then we overtook like 20 cars in a lap.
I think he's like,
Yeah.
cool.
So it was quite quick for the first timer.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. We're going to do the Ferrari. We can hire a Ferrari. It's going to be expensive. It's like 750 for one lap.
Euro.
There's a car behind you.
Yeah, no, I'm watching.
And he just recommended, he's like, don't do it. He said it's like...
It's for the millionaires.
Yeah. He said he just... it doesn't go as... It won't even go as quickly as the BMW Mini Cooper.
Why?
He said it's on street tyres and it's super quick and it just doesn't have the grip
Yeah, okay.
on the street tyres. So,
Huh.
yeah.
Cool, fair enough.
If I had extra bunch of cash, I'd probably do it, but we don't, so. I spent enough on 3 laps.
Exactly.
It was €609 all up for 3 laps, which is a lot of money, yes.
Indeed it is.
But it was amazing.
Ticked your bucket list.
Yeah. I've
Cool.
driven the Nurburg Ring.
Awesome. Do you want to go and see where we were to watch you?
Sure. I'm kind of hungry though.
We've got salad sandwiches.
Okay.
What's happening, Aria?
We're leaving Europe tomorrow.
We are. This is our last day in Germany, last day in continental Europe.
Yeah.
Where are we off to next?
The UK.
The UK, yeah. I think
Yeah.
where's first, do you remember?
London.
London. Yeah, we're going to London. That's right. What's been your favourite thing in continental Europe?
Where we climbed up a big rock, to a cross.
Ah, that lookout, that random lookout that I found in France.
Yeah.
Not Disneyland?
Oh, Disneyland.
What about the snow?
That's my second favorite.
What about all the castles we saw?
All the castles are my third favorite.
There's so much. Alrighty, the info section. So what we've learnt from Europe so far, like our 6.5 weeks,
Yeah.
I think it was, around Europe, just to give you some sort of idea whether you're looking for a long-term travel or even just a full-time travel, long-term travel, or even just a long holiday, extended holiday. Some things that we learnt about Europe.
Yep.
I think the first one that people are really nervous about is the whole visa thing. Because you don't need a visa. It's actually a visa waiver for Australians to go to Europe on the Schengen agreement.
Yeah.
So, you know a bit more about this than me.
It's just the whole Schengen, all the countries are in it except for Ireland and UK now, and Albania,
Morocco,
and
Turkey. Morocco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone else is in Schengen, and it's 90 days in 180, and so don't bother trying to work it out by hand, by yourself,
by calendar even.
By calendar. Just jump on. There's a few websites like Schengen Visa Calculator. Jump on there, put in your dates in and out, and it'll help you work it all out.
Yeah. So if you want to go to Europe for a period of time, then go to UK for a period of time, and go back to Europe. When your original arrival date does matter as well, so and it is really actually quite confusing. So don't try and be like, oh, I worked it out. Just use the calculator and know for sure, because it's just easier.
Yeah.
And it's possible. It is possible to go in and out and all of that as well. So
yeah, and so you can do essentially you can do 9 months with 3 months out.
Yeah. 9
months in with 3 months. Sorry, 9 months total.
Yeah. With
6 months of that can be in and 3 months out. So if you go straight into Schengen, 3 months in, straight away do 3 months out in UK, Ireland or something like that.
Yeah.
And then straight away 3 months back in, you can get 6 months in Europe out of 9 months total.
Yeah.
And that's the most efficient way to do it.
To see Europe.
See Europe. Yeah.
So yeah, just pop it in there. I'll put a link in the description to the one that we use to make it easy.
Yeah.
Transport is another question people are always asking about. People think, should we drive, should we hire a car, should we train it, things like that. We do the hire car, which works for us as a family with 2 adults and 1 child, and we have done trains as well. we found that by the time we did 3 tickets on a train for a short trip that we did do back right at the start in Germany, it was more than the hire car cost for the day. So for us to be able to just go when we want, where we want, to smaller places,
stop at the attractions we want to
stop at attractions along the way, not be reliant on timetable and what happens if you miss that train, things like that, for the same cost or less, we do drive like the hire car and driving.
Not having to take your luggage in and out of train stations and stuff.
Yes, and that's another part to it,
But
definitely.
if you're just doing cities, like famous European cities, just do trains between the cities.
Trains between the cities,
You don't have a hire car, you don't have parking, anything like that.
And we did do some of the cities as well, like Frankfurt, and we didn't have a car for Frankfurt. We picked it up on the way out of Frankfurt. So that's when we did do a train trip. People do question the whole driving on the other side of the road. It's not that bad. People are like, oh my gosh, it's like you're on the wrong side. The road rules. It's too hard. They're narrow. You're not used to it. Da, 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 da. It's not that hard. It's not that bad. It took a couple of hours, even in a manual car, to get organised and get used to it. The road rules are generally the same.
UK is harder because even though you're on the right side of the roads are really skinny and narrow in a lot of places. So that's more of an issue than the other side of the road in Europe.
Yeah. So from where we've driven, and we've done highways, we've done autobahns, we've done the narrow little villages, we've done them all in this last 6 weeks, that we've experienced it all to give you that feedback that it really isn't as scary as what people think it is. And yes, there's vignettes in certain countries like Switzerland, things like that. You literally do it online or at the border. Like, it's not like a big scary thing of, oh my God, de-stress about the driving. If driving works for you, luggage wise, freedom, timetables, that kind of thing, costs, do it. It's not that bad.
Who did we use? Who do we end up using? Discover Cars.
Yeah, we do a search on there for our bookings, and we are flexible with our dates because we can travel like flexibly.
Muck around your hire car dates as well, because slipping it one day forwards or backwards or a couple of days here and there can make a massive difference. Like, almost doubled our hire car cost if I wanted to add an extra 2 days at the end.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah. Unless you're set on a period of time that you have to travel, then if you can be a bit flexible with that and test those things out, you can definitely get cheaper deals.
Hard to find, like, you've got to muck around with it online for a while.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah.
But saving money takes time.
Yeah.
Okay, so accommodation, people have asked us quite regularly, like, what's our accommodation style as well. We generally use Airbnb or like Expedia if we're doing a city and we want to hold a quick hotel overnight. We don't want kitchen facilities to cook our own meals because we're just doing an overnighter or 2 nights and we're happy to eat out for a couple of days. We'll do Expedia, but generally all but 3 nights, I think, for this last 6.5 weeks has been Airbnb. It's been great. We like the Airbnb platform in terms of pricing, variety, usually parking.
Of pricing as well. No extras added. It's all in the one price when you're searching.
Yep. And the reviews that you can get the feedback from other people that have stayed there, things like that.
Oh, actually, I lied. There are some tourist taxes that you have to pay in cash in some places.
Usually,
it feels super dodgy,
but it's legit.
It's the way that the councils do it.
Yeah. Usually it's listed in the listing as well.
Usually it's listed
so
in the
listing.
You've
You've got that coming up as well to have that cash ready.
It's only like a couple of euros a night per person.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's been in all the different countries and places we've been so far. Consider with accommodation is there hasn't been a single one where we haven't had stairs either. So if you are someone with mobility issues, you will have to make sure that is included in your search and your requirements. But we have had to lug our suitcases and stuff up, and groceries and everything upstairs at every single one of them. So
maybe 1 or 2 steps sometimes, or maybe 2 or 3 flights sometimes.
Yeah. That's been so far. So it's something to consider.
You have to be able to pick that suitcase up and bring it upstairs.
Yeah.
If you're bringing it, you have to be able to carry it upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And book places with elevators, I guess, if you need to, but you'll be paying heaps, and they'll just be hotel-style ones. So
yes, yeah, but it's just if you don't want your mobility to restrict you from traveling, and that's a consideration, you have to do that. They're available. You just have to make sure you either look in the details of the Airbnb, message the host and ask, that kind of thing, because it may not be clear that there's stairs.
as well.
Wi-Fi's been great everywhere that we've stayed. No issues. It's been fast and so far it's been fast and good.
Yeah. So we might as well touch on that as well. That we do have data SIMs in eSIMs in both of our phones, and we use Wi-Fi at our accommodation to stay connected. That means when we're out and about, we have Google Maps, we have Google Translate. We can contact each other if we get separated. We just need data. We use WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger. And we haven't needed anything else with that. So
we use Mobi Matter, and we've got a code for them.
I'll put that in the description.
It's a good discount for you guys, I think.
Yeah.
For your first use of it, and so I think we paid like $12 a month for each eSIM.
Yeah.
And it's only got like 5 gigs of data or something, but that's plenty when you're using the accommodation Wi-Fi for all of your real internet use during the overnight and in the evenings and stuff and mornings.
Yeah.
And you're just using a bit of bits and pieces during the day.
Yeah. And
it gives us flexibility having both of our phones with an eSIM in it, because like Amanda can go shopping with Aria separately and we can talk to each other to meet up, or
find our way
she
back.
can feel safer rather than just one of us having an eSIM in one of our phones. Or even like in the same supermarket, you can separate in a supermarket and bloody find each other again, because that can be a bloody
Some of them are huge.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we like having both of our phones with an eSIM in it.
Yeah, and they're really easy to install
Super easy.
and use. They're
Super
not
easy. It
complex.
takes about 3 minutes.
And it means you have your Australian SIM still in your phone for like 2-factor authentication and stuff like that.
Banking.
And
Did you mean to spend €20 in Germany? Because we don't normally do that.
yeah,
And you text them back, you're like, yes, I did.
Yeah, when you're not using the little tiny pin thing to remove your SIM and put another one in there and going to try and not lose that, and switch it in and out when you need it. Like it's so easy.
Just add an eSIM. It's easy.
Yeah. In fact, you got to check your phone has capability though as well.
Most do now.
Yeah. We'll go into groceries then, because you just mentioned a grocery store.
Yep.
They're really easy. It's really easy to
Plentiful and
get your
cheap.
groceries. Yeah.
Yeah, Germany especially was great. It's been great.
France was good.
France was great. The produce in France was next level good.
Yeah.
Like their summer fruits and everything.
Yeah, and in Switzerland it is more expensive. Switzerland is much more expensive than the other countries that we've been in so far. Like we've only done the 3, but it's just a matter of like, it's an expensive country.
It's so expensive that try and avoid doing your groceries in Switzerland. Do it before you leave, do it after you leave. And just get some bread and essentials while you're in Switzerland. It's unfortunate. It's a budget thing for us.
For us, if you're not that strict on budget, don't worry about it. But for us, we were like needed to try and meet the budget that we try and stick to. So that was one of the things that we did. We also found that most countries have had Aldi and Lidl, and another one I can't think of the name right now. Kaufland maybe. In all the different countries in Europe, so they're there. So and we tried lots of different grocery stores, and no matter even though they're the same country, same store in different countries, the prices do change a little. So obviously it goes with the.
But generally, groceries have been cheap and good quality. So
and you can get everything you need. Like you can get everything to cook meals that you normally would eat either at home, or get things to try local cuisine meals as well. So
Aldi and Lidl have pretzels. They're so cheap. They're so good, pretzels.
Yeah, Aldi in Australia doesn't have the bakery, like the fresh bakeries like over here does. So Dan makes the most of those.
Apple turnovers, pretzels.
All things I can't eat.
Yeah, sorry.
Cool. Anyway, that's groceries. Okay. In terms of attractions and things, someone's asked us, people ask us all the time actually, how do we know where to go, what to see, things like that. Basically, our planning is around cheap flights, cheap car hires, cheap accommodation, places that we've heard of that we want to go and see, and a mix of other things other places we haven't heard of, haven't seen, the experience, immersing ourselves in experiencing the culture and things like that of the location. So we knew we wanted to do the romantic road in Germany. We knew there were certain places along there that we wanted to see, but we didn't actually stay in those tourist attraction places. We stayed 20 minutes out because the accommodation was cheaper.
Except for Munich.
Except for Munich, yeah.
Even then we stayed in like an affordable place in Munich.
Yes.
Semi-affordable.
Which had parking.
It was the most affordable we could have.
yeah, for a city. So cities are expensive.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, like what comes to mind, for example, was like Switzerland, where we stayed in Switzerland was, again, based on accommodation cost. We stayed there, was a couple of hours from the main Lauterbrunnen area. We did a massive day trip there, drove, experienced it, saw it, came back, and then I just Google Maps attractions where we are and within a certain radius, basically. I Google Maps the way to that place. I Google Maps the way to between there and the next place. Attractions along the way. Research them, look at them, suss them all out. Save the ones I'm interested in, and then we go, what do we feel like doing today? Oh, we feel like doing a hike to a waterfall. These are the options within the area. Or this is, we're driving here today, we've got time to stop and do one thing on the way. Which one should we do? So that is literally how I choose what we do.
And you do a great job.
Thanks. Other things are from like researching from other YouTubers or social media. If there's a place that we are going, like Munich, for example, I'll do top 10 things to see in Munich, or things like that. And then from there, I research deeper to see what's of interest to us. So it's a purely of interest. It's watching people like us and seeing where they go and what they do, and what's interested to you, really. So, and Google is my friend.
Yeah, and hit some bucket list items. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. So with that as well, someone asked how long we spend in a place. Like, how do we know how long to spend in a place as well? For example, mostly it comes down to budget. Like, so for Munich, if we only wanted to spend a couple of days there, and they were a big couple of days to see what we wanted to see, but that's because the accommodation was so expensive, we really couldn't just do half-day touring and spend so much money on eating out and we
couldn't muck around there because it's expensive.
Because it's expensive.
Whereas somewhere cheaper, we can spend a couple of days extra,
Yeah. We can spend a week in a small place that the accommodation is cheaper.
Well, in these 6 weeks, we've mostly done quite short hops, but we try to not do one-nighters. We try to do
100%.
minimum 2 nights.
Minimum 2 nights. Try to aim for 3, depending on what's along the way and how long the drive is, what's to see there.
By the time you arrive and figure out how to check in and
that's the
get your luggage in and unpack and figure out where everything is, and then
we might go for a walk in the afternoon around that local area or something, but that's generally that day gone because you've also done the checkout in the morning at the previous place and seen something along the way, had some lunch, and then arrived.
Just do one-nighters, geez, mate, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. You feel exhausted after a week of one-nighters.
Yeah.
You need a week off.
Yeah, and we did Switzerland for a week because we got you get the discount with Airbnb for doing a week as well. So, and it's Switzerland, it's beautiful. So, but that was kind of the only week that we did there. So we didn't. Yeah. So it just depends on where we're going and how long and budget really, and what's there to do and see and the drive distance and stuff like that. So it really is quite variable on that. So what other questions do we have? Do you just purchase flights as we go? Do we have everything booked before we left Australia? What about applying for visas? And do you have to have a return date? So in summary, we didn't have everything booked. We had our flight to Germany booked.
We did. We have generally kept one step ahead. So we did have flights out of Germany to UK booked when we landed in Germany. We'd already booked the next
leg out.
Little leg out. Yep. And the customs do like to see that. They don't really love you just having indefinite stays.
Yeah, so, for sure. So we did say we're here for 6 weeks and we have a flight to London.
Yeah. When we go to London, we'll have booked our next leg already.
Out. So we try to have that
out of the UK.
But that's the extent of it in terms of
They don't want you to go back to Australia. They don't care. They just want to know if you're leaving
that particular
the EU or the Schengen area or the UK or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. So having that one leg ahead. In terms of accommodation,
I think it would probably be okay even if you didn't have that, as long as you had a solid plan.
A plan of where you're going, what you're doing.
As soon as they ask you, we're going to be here for 7 weeks and then we're booking a flight to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They'll probably be okay with that.
Yeah. And in terms of accommodation and things like that, this first 6 weeks was almost all booked before we left Australia, but UK is
we haven't touched.
We've only got the first little bit done. So we definitely try with accommodation, we try to be a month or 2 out with all of that finalised as well, just so we know we don't get caught up and forget and then go, oh, we haven't actually got anything booked, and we can spend the time to look around and find where we want to go and the prices and things like that. So we do give ourselves time to do that. We don't like the last minute
stuff.
And generally, Airbnb doesn't give you discounts for last minute booking or anything like that. So we just
might as well just be sort of that month or two out. Depends what we're doing and where we're going. Also with like holiday time, so we are going to be in the UK over that July, August, which is holiday time. So that does play a part of accommodation prices and availability as well. So if you are in that peak summer holiday for Europe or UK, you do definitely need to be that little bit more organised as well compared to later in the year.
I think for the UK, I'm just going to be more searching by price for accommodation
and its facilities.
I'll put like 2-bedroom on the Airbnb filter and then just sort it down to like the bottom 10% of price that it's available, and then see where it is, see what happens.
Yeah. So the thing that with that is that we can also be flexible where we go to as well. Like I know with the bits that we do have booked, we are going to London first, and then we have the canal boat.
Yeah.
And then I know we're going to see some friends. So like there's bits and pieces, but then after that, if we go really like all the way north to Scotland first, because that's when we get a good price, or whether we come back, like where we go, we because we are going to drive ourselves around, can be also flexible with availability and price.
But that's how we found Céline-la-Baume, just by that search of price in France.
Yep.
Somewhere between Annecy and Disney Paris for a week.
Within our price range.
And that was epic. We never would have, it's not on any travel brochures. You would never hear about it anywhere.
No.
And it was one of our favourite stays for this 6 weeks. And it was 700 Australian for the week for the apartment there.
Yeah.
In this beautiful Renault,
gorgeous place.
Gorgeous apartment with a bakery and
lovely
a boulangerie and a cafe and just 2 minutes walk. So that's the kind of stuff you can find when you don't have exact itinerary and time limits and stuff like that. You can just do a search for price in Airbnb and
within
a large region and find something that ticks your boxes and go and experience something different. Because you're not just different in terms of a different country and different things, but different in terms of off the beaten track a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
And generally, the further off the beaten track it is, the cheaper it is as well, and
Correct.
more interesting we've found.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's a mix.
And the
it's
culture.
everything.
Yeah. And I think you have to remember that Europe and UK are so densely populated that you just drive 10 minutes and you're at the next village as well. So, and they all have unique things about them because they're also much history and all of that. So, even if you are off the beaten track, you're still going to get some really cool experiences because it's dense. It's really dense. I hope that answers that question. In summary. All right, so let's go to costs. So compared to our weekly Australian travel budget, how much more expensive is a week there? And do you have a weekly budget to stick to, or is it impossible to keep to?
Very good question.
Very good questions.
We were pretty tight travelling Australia.
I was going to say, if you haven't watched this before, we actually travelled Australia for 2.5 years in a trucking caravan. So a lot of people know us from that. And we were pretty tight with that, and we free camped a lot and things like that. So it was a very doable budget for us in Australia, a very comfortable budget, but it was definitely more expensive to do what we've done.
Overseas is more expensive, and travelling in Airbnbs and hire cars, it's definitely more expensive.
Yes.
And there's no getting around that.
Yeah. But we also don't treat it like a holiday, we treat it like life, and we do have a budget that we stick to each week. And we do everything we can to stick to that budget. There are days of splurging. Paris, Disneyland.
I have Nurburg Ring. Yeah.
But
any day in Switzerland.
But we also don't do this to not experience the life that we want to live by travel. So we will do a cheap week or two somewhere smaller, quieter, not eat out as much, things like that, so that we can still have those.
Eating out's the number one killer of your budget.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You can so easily double your budget if you eat out all the time.
Yeah. So we'll choose to have one meal out every 2 weeks so that we can stick to our budget.
While we've been travelling in Germany and stuff, because it's been reasonably priced.
Yeah, it's been reasonably priced. And you and the bakery in France and stuff. Yeah. What I'm saying is, if we want to do Disneyland, for example, we will know that for another month after that we do have to make some sacrifices to stick to our budget. But remember, we are not on a holiday, we are on a life, and we do not want to keep eating away at massive chunks of savings and then have to go, oh, we can't do this any longer because prices of everything's gone up and we've just splurged for 2 years. So yes, we have our budget. We stick to it as best we can. Some weeks are under, some weeks are over, some weeks are right on. Really depends where we are, really depends what we're doing, really depends how strict we feel like we need to be if we're splurged for like Disneyland or something like that.
So unlike with Australia, we do have an actual budget, and we do keep all of our receipts and costs, and we put them into a spreadsheet for our international travels.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have the actual exact numbers
for this trip.
For this 6-week trip.
So, down to here. So for this 6 weeks...
It was expensive, because with Disneyland and Nurburg Ring, we ended up averaging 457 Australian dollars a night, which is a lot. It's over our budget, well over our budget.
Yes.
Budget's around 300 Australian dollars a night.
We were moving a lot faster. We were doing kind of more tourist attractions, paying entry fees for things because we hadn't figured out, like, it was still such a learning curve this first 6 weeks of like finding natural free attractions and things. A lot more paid parking than what we were kind of thinking
stays.
of.
So
short stays, yeah.
As soon as you're doing less than a week with an Airbnb, your cleaning fees go up and your everything, or you're in a hotel, then you're eating out, and
So
we acknowledged that this was going to be probably the most expensive part of our travels,
especially with Disney, Nurburg Ring, and the fast pace, and Switzerland. So we think we still did pretty well considering we did those things in that price, and we definitely were still budget, but it still was over our budget that we could sustain long term at this pace.
We dipped into savings for this 6 weeks, so we'll be having to rein that spending back and try and gain back some of that cost over the next 10 weeks in the UK.
But also with Disney, for example, it was a splurge, it was a treat, it was like the kind of, if we were to go on a holiday, that would, we kind of put that down as like a holiday expense, 3 days, like a splurge. So
and just keep in mind that amount is everything. That's including like
insurance and
flights and insurance and phones and internet,
everything. We don't not include anything because that's no use to us, is it? It's still money coming out. So for the total of the 6 weeks that we did, we are looking at $17,830 Australian for 6 weeks of that. So to me, that's a 6 week holiday for a family if you're going to just do a fast paced holiday with big splurges like Disney or whatever and some of the expensive places. That gives you a really good idea to me.
We spent much more than that when we did that US trip just as a couple.
As a 6 week couple trip, 10 years ago.
We spent like 25,000 Australian. That was with a good exchange rate.
10 years ago. 10 years ago prices, just the two of us, good exchange rate, was 25,000 for a 6 week holiday then. So we still did pretty well, and I still think it gives it quite a good idea for a family travelling. Again, we've only got the one child, so if you've got more, you need bigger accommodations and things like more beds and stuff, then it is something to consider. But it'll give you a rough idea.
And we're going to have to rein that back down.
We do need to rein that back in.
But
in terms of just a quick sort of summary, as we already said, our most expensive place was Switzerland. Our cheapest was...
No, the most expensive was Disney.
Well, Disney, yes. Disney, Switzerland. In terms of countries, our cheapest was France, but that was deliberate because we slowed right down and did a week stay.
Most expensive activity was a tie between Disney and Nurburg Ring.
They were pretty much the same.
Some of our German had higher average activity costs.
Yes.
Like we were doing more paid activities, castles and waterfalls and things like that were paid.
We did find more things in France that were free to do.
Deliberately.
So so I think that helps. And we also, I guess, just for your understanding as well, we try to stick for accommodation each week. We try to, what the future holds, we'll be trying to stick to a weekly. After we did our week in Celine Slabanes, we really liked the slowing down the week, the
reduced cost.
The reduced cost of the week, the slower, and
the
we
pace
have
of
to,
life,
like, we have to slow down. We have to reduce these costs. So we've decided the week-long stays are the way to go at that. So, and we're going to try and stick to like $1,000 Australian a week for accommodation.
Yeah.
Roughly. Try to not go above that per week. Obviously depends on where we are and what we're doing. But yeah, but then there's still London that's going to throw it back. Or we're throwing out for London and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, but that's out. Just so you know that that's what we try to stick to, what we're trying to do. So, for that. So, is there anything else in terms of specifics for costs you think they need to know? We got a really good deal on the car.
We did.
Which helped.
I got a really good deal on the car.
Yes. So it's all about bargain hunting. If you need to stick to a set budget and you need to be strict about it, you have to bargain hunt. If you just want to splurge whatever, maybe double. If you just like whatever, I'm just going to book whatever for my dates, double what we spend. Because like we really hunt it down to try and get it as cheap as possible.
You could easily spend double what we spend.
Easy, for sure.
Easily.
So yeah, if you have any other questions about how we travel internationally full time, anything we've learnt from Europe so far, anything you want to know about UK, put them in the comments below. We'll do another info video, Q&A, that kind of thing. Probably after the next UK series, we'll do a similar thing with costs and what we've learnt from UK as well. And we'll try and incorporate any other questions and we'll answer them best we can.
Coming up next episode, join us on our London family adventure. We explore iconic landmarks, enjoy fun activities, and dive into the vibrant culture and history of this incredible city. There's so much to see and do, you won't want to miss it. We will see you soon.